people to, back him up and to get that support. What is Israel doing? They're using religion. That's actually disgusting what they're doing because Judaism and Zionism are it's not the same. But that's what I'll read Bible verses, Torah verses, etc., etc. It is so deeply rooted, just like how Nazism and fascism had that whole system had to die. There had to be learning. There had to be reparations. There had to be worldwide. They had to condemn Germany heavily, and they're still so scared. And they're still so. That's what needs to happen to Israel. Taking 180 out isn't going to solve what's so deeply rooted into the fabric of the society.
And if I want to get back to your analogy, yeah, there are lots of Hitlers in every society, but there should be a prepared society for that Hitler to be embarrassed by that society. Okay, so you can say there is one. No, there are lots of Hitlers, but they should find a place that they can go in, and they can be accepted, and they let them to do this. So that's why Netanyahu found their society and he wanted this to grow, and that's now you're taking the rules.
Point. What?
Fred, these people that are Ben-Gurirs, motorists and whatnot, they aren't actually Hitler, right? I mean, they believe in killing, taking over the land. They're pretty much Hitler, right? And they're doing this so that way they can take over the land and not give it up at all. I mean, Smotrich literally said a whole bunch of genocidal ships, right? He believes in Greater Israel. Ben-Gvir has issued a whole bunch of weapon permits. He has issued more than 200,000 weapon permits. He's the one that gives out weapons to the settlers. So they do, they are actually Hitler. These people are, but it's the whole Zionist entity. So there was a survey done, right? Yeah, it was a survey done by Israeli government or sources, which you can say. 82% of them, they want to expel these Gazans. 82%. And they want to expel the Israeli Arabs, about 56% of them. So how do you, how do you divide the population? Okay, you believe in it, you don't believe in it, why do you have to be so fucking victim, man?
Saudi Arabia just opened its airspace to Israel.
And which other society you can find that they celebrate killing other people in history? Like, give me another example that you can find a country that the celebration is killing another nation, and they do it. They have a Syrian celebration, and they kill lots of Persians on that day, and they celebrate it every year. And they have it in their book, and they bring it out, and they brag about it and all this. And yeah, when they speak English, no, that's not in the case. When they speak Hebrew, then they talk about all this.
Wait, maybe
that's what you're referring to, because I haven't heard this before.
Point. I'm sorry for saying it, but you're not saying the truth because let's check Twitter. Sorry guys, but Mohammed, they were saying they're gonna allow the Iranian program to stay. To be honest, I don't really buy into this whole propaganda that Saudi Arabia and Israel are investigated because Saudi Arabia is home to the two Islamic holy sites. If they literally go in with the Zionists, it is going to backfire, and they know it. So I don't really buy into this whole thing. And Saudi, I feel like they're Palestinian. Saudi actually convinced Norway, Spain, and Ireland to recognize Palestine last year, and I'm pretty sure they're spearheading the upcoming conference in New York. But
Saudi airspace is open to Israel, okay?
Wait, you said? I gotta go check it again, bro. I don't know.
Well, mute your mic and then check and shut up.
It might be okay. I got you.
Just come to Clubhouse and be blabbing your mouth.
Guys, you need to check your sources. There are a lot of fake news.
If there's a lot of fake news, you gotta cross-check it, make sure read from Al Jazeera and read the mainstream source, and then the truth is somewhere hidden in the middle.
Like
That's how I look at it.
Israeli news, there is nothing happened there, actually.
Trump
Check Israeli news and nothing happens.
Yeah.
And also,
Tel Aviv lied this morning.
and nothing happened.
As soon as they attacked my country, I opened Tel Aviv live. There was like millions of people watching it.
So I got the Israeli news open in front of me. Times of Israel. It says woman dies of wounds from Iran missile attack. Israel said to strike Tehran airport. So and then when you look at the Tehran's news report, hold on, brother, you're not getting the point. You gotta look at the multiple sources to get to the truth. You can't just freaking say, "Oh, my source is the true side." So it's all bias. It's all bias.
There is something that
That's what I'm saying. Like the Israeli, they focus on saying, oh, they killed civilians, they didn't hit any military bases or any critical spaces. That's what I'm saying.
well, there is something that Israel said by accident, I think, or let some intel out by accident, is when they did it twice, and they asked people to stop recording impacts in Israel of Iranian missiles because it gives information to the enemy. And that was from the Israeli government, from the IDF spokesperson. So that tells you right there have been impacts in Israel, which is the very thing that they're trying to hide.
Oh, they have lots of impacts. I can send you a couple of links to check out.
See it?
It's so weird that you're down there in the bottom, Amir.
Yeah, it's where he belongs.
Oh, hello.
Get him there.
I don't think it's so much about intel, Edward, though. More intel. Iran, they probably have mapped out better than any video. Mapped out better than any video that somebody uploads an Israeli television. The reason why I think they're really doing this is because they don't want to see themselves getting attacked. They want the world to see this happening. They want to deny it.
Control the narrative, yes. So Iran is using, and Iran said this, that they're confirming their strikes by satellite. So they know what they're hitting, and if they impacted by the satellite footage that Iran is getting. I mean, Iran has satellites.
It's crazy to me how they started it. They've been bombing Lebanon, Syria, the Gaza Strip, and now they bombed it. Started with Iran, and now they're the victims.
Well, so
Victims.
what happened?
It's for Middle East. You don't see it? They're attacking Syria, they're attacking Palestine, they're attacking Iran, they're attacking Yemen, because they want to bring peace to Middle East.
So earlier today, somebody said that Israel used a massive cyber attack, which left the Iranian air defense system compromised. If this is the case, I'm betting that Israel didn't or underestimated the capabilities of the Iranians to adapt to that, to reset their networks, because it seems like Israel wasn't prepared for the onslaught of missiles that are hitting Israel right now. I think they thought that they would have Iran neutered for days so that they could do whatever they needed to do and destroy everything that they needed to destroy. But it's everything that makes sense to me, because I can't imagine why Israel would attack Iran when there's no way of winning that war. An air war with Iran.
Edwin is right. There was no way in which they expected a speedy comeback. To be fair, I don't think that the comeback would be that quick either.
Trump wanted the focus switched to something else because Trump was drowning in America. I told you why. But you don't listen, Edward. Go sit in the corner.
No, I just don't buy that. I just don't buy that.
No dinner for you. No dessert for you tonight. Okay? Go sit in the corner.
I don't buy that, because I just don't see the because it costs so much money and time and resources for Israel to do something like this, and just for Trump to save face, isn't enough.
Wasn't somebody being very proud and annoying yesterday about Israel? The guy bully. Why is he down for
He was like, I told you so, and people say this all the time. Don't say you told me so about something so general. You said you'd never, he told me, you said Israel would never attack Iran. And literally, I said this at least a couple of times a week in here, where I said the only thing that Netanyahu could do is to pivot. He tried pivoting to Hezbollah, they didn't react. He tried Syria, they didn't react. So the only thing that's left to do is Iran. Said that multiple times. But he wanted to come in here and say things about how smart he is and how he could predict the future. It reminds me of all these guys on the internet that try to get you to sign up for their investment newsletters. And they tell you, I predicted the crash of 2008. I predicted this, and this. But it's easy for you to say after the fact, but do it before the fact.
Come on, Edward, he isn't.
Huh?
Come on, Edward, he isn't.
No, I don't think he's stupid. I don't think he's stupid.
He's
Are you a Trump supporter, Edward?
Yeah, I mean, given the choices I've had, so, I mean, it's a conditional support.
Do you believe in social dominance orientation?
I don't know what that means.
It means that you believe that a certain group of people should show and have dominance over
No, of course
another by the hierarchy and how its framework is.
No, of course not. No.
Did Trump have the military parade?
Do you believe in association with, affirmative action? Do you believe in affirmative action?
I believe in, whatever affirmative action is today, I don't know if it's, the way it's done today is...
Well, right now, it's a war on anyone who's an immigrant in the U.S., which we're all immigrants in the U.S.
Yeah, but, I voted for Trump because there wasn't another option, and I know he's decisive, so there was at least a chance for him to...
Technically, there were lots of options. Technically.
No, there were two. Only two.
Technically, in the U.S. democracy, there were lots of options. You saw it as a left-right argument because you drink the Kool-Aid. There is other options.
We're a two-party system.
There were other candidates.
They were not on the ballot.
You mean Jill Stein?
You only had 2 people on your ballot.
There was only 2 people at the end.
You only had 2 presidential election candidates on your ballot.
Well, Jill Stein was there, but she didn't
So don't tell me you only had 2 options.
Wait. Okay,
Jill Stein ever since she's lost, she hasn't put anything up on her TikTok or social media.
Yeah, she's a communist. I told you.
I didn't vote for her, but all I'm saying is don't tell the greater people who are not Americans that there were only 2 options, because there
there
were
are
only
only 2 options.
Amir was dating Jill Stein.
All right, wait. Who cares about Jill Stein?
Amir was dating her. So he cares. He cares.
Okay. So
parade is tomorrow.
I don't agree with
The national protest for anti-kingship, for Down with Kings, it's tomorrow, and his parade is tomorrow, if you were asking.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to Bryant Park.
Okay, what's Down with Kings? And also, there are 2 parties that have a chance of winning the presidency.
It says say no to kings. It's a protest to say no to kings, meaning that Trump thinks he's a king. He called himself a king.
Oh, got it.
So all the military veterans,
protest.
military veterans, the military will be there, and police that don't believe in a king, and construction workers. So it's going to be real interesting. Yeah, because they say no to kings, no to tyranny, no to cock sucking. They don't suck cock. Yeah.
I don't believe in the monarchy system unless I was the monarchy. or the monarch.
So you believe in Israel then?
I was just baiting you. I'm joking.
What did he mean? No, Bully, come up. Come up, Bully, come on.
No, we haven't heard.
Smart. He predicted that America was behind it, and America was behind it.
I don't know if we could say America was behind it.
Trump said it.
I mean, Edward, really. I mean, Israel is the prodigal bastard son of a father called America.
But we have to have facts, though.
I gave you the fact. Trump agreed that he was behind it.
No, he didn't agree. He didn't want to.
Yeah, he did.
Actually, he didn't agree.
Did you read his statement?
Israel is.
Yes, I did. It was exactly like any other Trump statement. He said both things at the same time. But he definitely emphasized that he would not want Israel to get involved in ruin his negotiation with Iran, which he really wanted.
Please don't call it negotiation, okay? He's not going to remove any sanctions. He's not going to give any credit to Iran. It's not a negotiation yet.
H, 1 second, brother. 1 second. And Reuters has reported we knew everything Trump tells about Israel's strikes in Iran. What do we do about that, Edward?
Serious?
Edward believes everything.
Trump said
I can't believe everything if I can't hear it. Go ahead.
Trump said, it was reported in the Reuters, we knew everything Trump tells Reuters about Israel's strikes on Iran.
Yeah, they knew.
So they
Also, Trump. Also, when Iran struck twice, the U.S. knew because Iran told the
because
U.S.
Iran didn't. But I'm talking about this right here. Remember, you were making the claim that America did not know about this whole.
No, I did not make that claim. I absolutely did not make any claim like that at all.
But America wasn't with it.
I absolutely did not make any claim like that. You're changing the goalpost. I never made that claim. The claim I made was that America would have known and did know because that was reported that Israel told America, told Trump, or told the White House. That's what I reported, or I said, and I distinctly remember saying, and this is what Iran did last year for True Promise 1 and 2. They reported both to the White House first. So that was not a claim that I made. It must be.
Israel asked permission from America and then did the attack?
Inform, not ask for permission.
Yeah.
You cannot shoot a missile without telling your ally that who I'm gonna hit. They will think that you're gonna hit them.
They informed.
The missile go.
Israel informed. Iran also informed last year. They both informed. That's not proof of anything. Did America give? And the only thing I actually said, if you want to point to anything remotely, I did say that I believe that the U.S. provided satellite and intelligence to Israel. May have, because Israel may have more intelligence on Iran than the U.S. I don't know, but that's a possibility.
70% of war is in intelligence and all other things, and logistic and everything. 30% is just bombing and firing to each other. So, U.S., France, and UK are doing 70% of the job for it.
Well, if you want to twist, the argument around that way, you can.
Yeah, they're leaving this Monday anyway at the G7. So that's the 15th through the 7th. So they'll all be all cozy. The colonizers and imperialists will be in the same room. Isn't that interesting? Oh, nice.
And Trump is trying to make the best out of the situation. So now what Trump is saying is this. If you sign a deal with me, I will basically kill Netanyahu for you.
I don't think he's saying that.
No, I mean, that's basically the message, that if you sign a deal with me, you don't need to worry about Netanyahu. But if you don't, then I will not
What is this information? Exactly. Where did you get this information from?
It doesn't sound like a president.
In what concept did you get this information?
Basically, this is what it
What
says.
does basically mean here?
Stupid
Hey,
ass.
darling, don't get angry. Calm down.
Yeah,
I
you're
know
bullshitting
you're
others.
scared
Like,
to shit.
Trump never promised anything to
Don't
others.
worry. We don't kill all the Jews. We just want Netanyahu. So basically, what Trump is saying is that we are negotiating with Iran, and if you sign a deal with me, you don't need to worry about Netanyahu. I will take care of him for you. But if you don't sign with me, then I will not do anything about Netanyahu. That's basically
Alright,
what Trump
that
is doing.
sounds like Trump, but not the kill part, but that does sound like Trump.
Yeah, but the kill is like this guy.
Like
To piss off
not to attack Iran. I understand what you're trying to say, but the problem is they set a meeting on Sunday or Saturday, I don't know.
Today until Sunday.
Yeah, it was today, and they attacked yesterday. So that's a nasty job the U.S. played here, and killing people while they're sleeping. That's against that's against UN. Anywhere, any human being, you ask them, this is a terrorist attack. You don't have to wear Arabic clothes to be a terrorist. That's what the propaganda is saying. You can wear very beautiful American helmet and be a terrorist. That's what they've been doing in Iraq, in Palestine, in Syria, and in Lebanon.
I mean, Iran will be hitting a U.S. base between now and tomorrow. So, yeah, Amir, don't say I didn't tell you ahead of time. See, you never listen.
I don't know if they're going to go that far. I don't think they're going to escalate.
You never listen.
Iranians escalate very slowly.
Yeah, we don't work like that. We don't work out of reaction. Reactivity is a very Arab quality.
Actually, it is
man.
It is
I just defended the Iranians. I said that they don't look like
Yeah, I agree with Edward.
reflex in.
Yeah, I
And you
agree.
insulted me. Marcus.
You're
No,
right.
I agree with you.
Let me be honest, you told her Marcus.
I've been air by right.
Edward, it's Marcus.
Yeah, he's a market. Arabs are very reactive. In geopolitics too, so the politics of a nation reflects the personality of the nation.
America is complicit with Israel's attack. Trump even said it. He said, I knew and I wasn't going to say shit. So Iran is going to hit an American base and just not, Putin's going to say, well, I knew, I just didn't say
No,
shit.
point out, Iran also told America, and only for True Promise 2, America held the information back for until 2 hours before it happened is when they told Israel.
No, that's when they
Believe that?
That's
Yeah, I mean, they were caught off guard.
Stupid ass. Stupid ass.
Iran officially announced that they talked with the UN that if they guarantee this is going to be the end of the war and they don't want to get involved in the war, they just want to show off their military capability to Israelis, and also it's the right to defend their country also because they breached Iran's embassy in
Article
in
51.
Syria, I believe. Yeah, so that wasn't. They could easily target civilians and. The missile which they couldn't intercept.
No, wait.
Could land.
You can't target civilians.
Well, if you call us the terrorists, we were never done such a thing like this. I think we all agree on who is the terrorist. This is.
Oh, maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. Or you're being sarcastic.
What he's trying to say is, let me explain. So he's trying to say that in True Promise 1 and 2, Iran launched like more than 300 or 400 missiles, and we didn't hit even one civilians. Okay, we just hit air bases and military bases and all this. That's not the case when Israel is hitting us. First they hit some civilians, and maybe they might kill some other people like military persons, And not just us. In every other cases, they don't care about the civilians. They see the target, they go for it. If 100 people are around it, okay, they got hit.
Yeah, no, I thought he was saying that Article 51.
In any war, if you kill civilians, you don't actually make a damage to the country because civilians will not achieve anything for you. It's the cheapest target. Any country who's attacking civilians like Israel, they should be so stupid, or they have genocidal ideas. This is the fact. Like if you kill one person, what is going to change? But if you hit a military space, that's billions of dollars.
Except it's not a war, my dear. It's an attack. It's a murder. And cowards attack at night. Cowards attack children. Cowards attack from the back.
They brought down entire apartment buildings. I mean, that was the first thing they did.
You know that's a heavily loaded school area, right, Edward?
Is it?
Yeah. The pastor and the entire area is heavily schooled. A lot of affluent people live there. It's a very good that entire region is well established and a good neighborhood. So I mean these are all targeted. As I said, fetish for children. This motherfucker has a fetish for children. To end civilizations by getting rid of the future, which are kids.
I don't have sides, but I believe that Israel had to attack civilians because the Hezbollah, the terrorist, was hiding between them. It's a tactic they used against Israel for a long time.
Oh, Alexandra, I heard Iran is bombing hospitals.
I really don't have time to go from chapter
Alexandra, that's the bullshit that you're feeding people for a long time.
Alex, I hear Iran is bombing hospitals in Tel Aviv because they heard there are tunnels underneath the hospitals. So they're bombing.
The civilian killing civilians. I think was it Marcus that was mentioning as a short term or as a type of objective. That's called a tactical objective. And tactical objectives are when you go after an objective that really doesn't match with your strategic or operational objectives, and they're short term. They're made to, for example, destroy something that benefits you if it's destroyed. Doesn't really benefit the entire battle or war. And so Gaza has been one big. Gaza has been one big tactical objective for Israel, and they had no strategy or even operational objectives going into it, and that's why it's a failure. That's why it's a failure. Well, the proof is right there. I mean, it's most of Gaza.
Their agenda was to annihilate the region, to flatten it. That was their agenda from the very beginning.
But that's a tactical objective. It's not a strategic objective because
strategic being that if we do this, then the U.S. can put a port on the outside. Come on, Edward, you got to think bigger. I know that you love Trump, right? And you play the dogmatic approach to defending him.
This isn't Trump. I don't know what you're talking about. This has nothing to do with Trump or the U.S.
Okay, you don't think it has? You really don't think so?
What I am saying.
What if you're wrong?
What I am saying.
What if this has everything to do with the U.S.?
Okay, what I am saying is nothing to do with Trump.
Let me ask you a question. Are you aware? Are you aware that there are U.S. colleges right now?
Anybody could vote for whoever they want. No. You don't attack people for who they vote for.
I get the
you shouldn't attack anyone for who they vote for. I don't do it, and nobody else in here does it. You shouldn't do it either.
I'm attacking you. I'm poking holes in your argument, is what I'm saying.
No, I was in the middle of saying something about Gaza. Nothing to do with Trump.
I vote for Trump.
And you believe that?
I'm sitting in my house in the US. I would definitely do the same thing you did. He's actually right, you know. He voted for Trump. He's probably white. He's a US citizen. who else do you want to fuck up the whole country around the world
Listen,
to keep
I
people
don't
safe?
care who people vote for, but I'm tired of the left-right argument and blaming the left when the right hand is the one in charge, or blaming the right when the left is the one in charge.
What are we talking about?
Exactly. Gaza was a power play.
I don't
It was
know.
completely a power play.
But that's your opinion. That wasn't my
That's
claim.
great.
That's
That's
not
great.
my
But if you look
argument.
at the maps and the agenda and the Ben Gurion Canal, all of this was orchestrated long before. So you can call it
That's
tactical.
nothing about what I was talking
What
about.
tactical did they gain?
I was talking about how war is conducted. These are the three types of objectives that wars have. That's what I was talking about. I was not talking about who gained what. I was
So
talking
what
about
tactically? How tactically did this benefit Israel? They've colonized almost the entire region.
it didn't benefit Israel tactically. Or it did benefit them tactically. It didn't benefit them strategically because right now Hamas is still there, so they did not meet their objectives. They didn't meet any of their objectives. That's the whole point. You don't win wars based on tactical victories. You win wars based on strategic victories in the area.
This is
On this topic,
It's a war against Palestinians. What do you mean?
Israel
I
actually.
think one of the objectives we're missing is not just with or about Hamas doesn't matter so much to them. Hamas I think is just the boogeyman they've ascribed for as a ploy, a decoy for their greater agenda, which they've already spelled out.
Absolutely.
Norgis, finish my sentence, please.
Good job. They have.
Next.
Hamas is just another puppet that is used for their own benefit. I agree.
Yeah, they want to flatten, and that being to flatten Gaza, kick all the Palestinians out, to colonize it, steal the land, usurp its resources, which are Palestinian resources, natural gas and oil and so forth. About
And there are
estimated $500 billion.
You know that there's colleges right now signing agreements with Israel to build satellite campuses over in Israel on the new colonized territory, which is called Gaza.
Can I please speak?
Do you have any reference for that warning? Can you please put
Yeah, I sure do. Why don't you look up University of Utah? Look up University of Utah and its relation to Israel and what's happening with their campuses over there. They just signed the deal like last month or this month.
Can I speak? Israel came to the land of Palestinians and put them in that position to be upset. There was negotiation back in the time where Israel wanted to give Palestine the right to be a country, and they was actually dividing a part of the Israel to give back to Palestinians. And Palestinians was run by a terrorist, not a semi-terrorist organization that used that power to influence their position. When the agreement was about to be finished between those two leaders in USA, Palestinians suddenly said something about a piece of land that is not in that region, which is Moscow, but is not so important, and ruined that agreement. They played the whole thing just to get a show. Israel done many things wrong to Palestinians, and they didn't have the right to take their land and oppress them. But they was dealing with a situation when terrorists are actually the state. This is a very unique situation, which no country has the legitimacy to have terrorists run the country. And the fact that they committed this terrorist attack was a very good reason that Israel was waiting for such a reason to invade Palestinians and finally put them in a position to absolutely control the whole region. And they used this reason and they owned Palestinians just because they want to control it, and they want to never give back the country back to Hezbollah.
So so the Utah thing is they signed an agreement in Ariel, which is a settlement, not in Gaza.
It's in the West Bank, bro.
But it's not
That
Gaza.
means they're not colonizing the West Bank?
Well, they signed it in the settlements, which is bad, but it's not Gaza.
Yeah,
And you don't
because
think that that's gonna pull over in Gaza?
maybe misheard, but maybe we misheard, but I think you said in Gaza there were
I
plenty.
apologize. No, I'm talking about the new colonized region, which everyone is calling Israel. And
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
new colonized region, this is like the last 60 years, last 78 years, right? That's new. Some of the people in this room were born within that decade, right? So,
If time is important, Israel used to be a country in ancient time in that region. There was like discoverings of their.
There was never a country named Israel. Never a country named Israel. I majored in history, bro. Don't say lies.
The settlement thing is significant, Maureen. I'm not downplaying that.
oh, I understand. It's a domino
yeah.
effect. If Utah is backing it with their
Yeah,
dollars,
no, this is bad.
then it's just a matter of time before other, and the fact that this is a problem within Utah. I mean, I don't want to make this about something other than what it is, right? But how Utah is approaching this goes against our state legislature. It goes against our state policies. So it's not only an issue on a federal level, right? But now we're at a state level.
Actually, it is an issue at the federal level because University of Utah receives federal money.
Exactly. I'm saying that it's a problem federally and on a state level. It goes against Utah. It's problematic, and we'll just leave it there because it's new, and I don't want to give it more energy than what it has because I'd like to see it fizzle out before it ever gets deep roots in the region, because it's a huge problem to have a U.S. privatized school in Israel. That's a huge problem in my opinion.
Morning. I really think you are making something out of nothing. It was
important.
no,
Really?
it was. I'm going back to Gaza.
So let me ask you a question. How many students right now, pause. How many students right now are having their exchange student visas
No, I'm
dangled
talking
in front
about
of their
Gaza.
face if they say pro-Palestine?
I'm
How many
talking
people
about
are
Gaza.
facing deportment and their visas revoked if they support Palestine? No, don't minimize what's happening here.
I know. I'm not talking about that.
No, you
I'm
don't.
saying that.
You don't.
I'm saying that.
Your opening statement with like that, very frank.
It's a snowball. It's a snowball, and it's rolling downhill very quickly.
I'm talking about the bombing of Gaza.
Democracy is a very loose term right now in the U.S. because our democratic
You didn't get
right
me.
to protest is being stripped from us. Our right to be on this soil and be defended by being on this soil is being overlooked by the ICE agency. There's a lot of things happening in America right now that don't stand for America, that go against our constitutional right and our Bill of Rights. So it's not a big deal. It's a huge deal.
But Netanyahu was going to jail right before October 7th. It is as simple as that. And he just tipped Hamas.
Our U.S. President Trump held a chair for Netanyahu as a war criminal in our country and didn't arrest him. He housed him, hosted him, gave him, bread and water. We are co-conspirators at what is happening in Gaza, and don't minimize that. And any dogmatic approach you have with that, Edward, yes, Trump
What
is...
dogmatic approach? I don't have any.
Gaza is just Netanyahu. There is no
If he really wanted peace in the Middle East, the tariffs and the sanctions on Iran for the last, 60 years wouldn't exist. That's way more than a Republican or a Democrat.
Who should I have voted for then?
Motherfucker, we shouldn't have voted at all. Like, I never voted. Like, why would you even give the?
Because I didn't want Harris in president.
Like this time, I'm telling you, bro.
Please vote, but don't vote by the fearmonger tactic of I'm gonna vote for the lesser of two.
Harris
evils.
was
I didn't want Harris.
The problem with democracy in America.
She didn't even win one primary
There is
election.
only two parties, Morning. I mean, there is
There's not.
practically two parties.
There's not.
The other ones don't count.
Wait, See, that's the problem.
But it's not my fault.
That's the problem. You think it doesn't count, but saying that out loud, it does count. That's
If we had a national movement where
this is tyranny. What you're supporting is tyranny. By
if we had a national
Trump
movement,
didn't win, Harris would.
if we had a third party and we had a national
If we
movement
had a
for it,
third
then,
party,
then that's a different
you talk
story.
about it like it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist in a meaningful way, so it might as well not exist.
It would have never made it to the ballot if it didn't exist. The problem is that the 1% that control the U.S. Capitol are the ones that control the left-right narrative, and they are doing a very good job by making the greater world believe that there's only a Republican-Democrat argument in the U.S., and that's not true. It's just not true, and you know that, but you're saying it like it is,
Okay.
and that's
I'm gonna stop because I have to.
thinking is dangerous.
Yeah, Morty's
Morning. I have two women coming after me, so I'm gonna stop.
I with you
Like, did your boyfriend vote for
if
Trump too? I'm sure he did.
lose,
Your boyfriend.
Can I get
Everlasting boyfriend.
It was Daniel. I think Daniel was flirting with them the other day. Daniel.
No, that's not what she meant. That's not who she means. She said it.
Cynic and
Can I say how I
Cynic.
understand US politics?
Oh, me and Cynic are the same. You and Cynic sit in the room, argue for hours and hours about I don't even know what. Like I don't even say. You know what? I don't even. No, they do. I don't listen, Amir. I don't even go on stage and I go in the room. I listen to them. I don't go on stage because one of them or one or the other would try to get me on their side, and I have no idea what they're talking about, and then I end up getting yelled at.
He has aged me because of who he is and the stuff he said.
It's
Did your boyfriend too vote for Trump? Because it's coming for him. Morning, I have to introduce you.
Who? To Cynic?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be.
Trump.
I mean, if she introduced her to Cynic, that would just be World War III right there.
Dude, so Marcus, by the way, Cynic, he was promoting this idea. Do not let Trump get in the office. Try in any shape or form. He was promoting this on this app. And then he changed his whole I called him out.
I know.
I called him out on his bullshit. I said, wow, you were promoting this idea anti-Trump and then now you're pro-Trump. What the fuck just happened?
Glad you called him out.
You see what I'm saying? So I like to call him out, but apparently he does not want to understand. It's just like it's his way or the highway.
Every other day, the party's changed, the loyalty's changed. Oh.
Yeah, I know. He kicks people out, his own people out of the room, man.
Marcus and they were really arguing the other day. He moved her down, and I had to.
I know he kicks her out of the room, man.
I'm not so shocked by the way being treated. Your man does that. Shame on him, piece of shit.
Yeah, no, I've never known him to move you down. Actually, I don't know what his problem is.
Because I said exactly what Dean said, bro. I said Hamas is another puppet that is playing the freaking same old game of politics. And same shit, different asshole. That's what it is.
Yeah, but his family
He's
is
very offended by the whole thing.
His family's Hamas, so he's.
That's right. Oh.
I mean, literally, Netanyahu gave the tip to Hamas for October 7. I mean, he was the one who pushed them there.
You said Netanyahu gave tip to Hamas on 7?
I bet he did. He was going to.
Hamas and Netanyahu are working together.
What are you saying?
I think he's trying to say like maybe
Netanyahu has given them money for the longest time. He's the biggest supporter of the Hamas.
Yeah, but they're not working with Hamas. I mean, Hamas and Netanyahu are not.
Netanyahu was going for before October 7.
They're not working together, Marcus.
Constitutional crisis. They had constitutional. They don't have constitution.
I'm a Trump supporter. Agree on this.
No, I'm not going to fight this. And there's two women against me, and they both have very strong personalities, and they're very smart, and I'm going to leave them alone. I'm not falling for that.
Leave them alone, or
Yeah, man.
Let me ask you a question. If you don't believe that Israel is in bed with Hamas, how then could they have this many hostages this far into the future, and Gaza is still Gaza, right? So if they weren't tactically working with Israel, how then could you annihilate an an entire 38 miles.
That would be strategically.
How
That would
big
be
is
strategically.
Gaza? Square footage wise, about
140
Manhattan.
square kilometers.
Okay, I can walk Manhattan.
So
in a couple
140 square.
hours.
But no, I do think that Israel set up made sure that the music festival thing was moved close to the wall. They knew that the attack was coming, so they made it so that it was convenient and easy for Hamas to attack without being
Let me ask you this.
challenged.
Fast forward over a year later, and you have millions of people starving to death, but Hamas is still alive and well, and their hostages are well fed.
No, because Hamas,
Every hospital, every school, every masjid, everything has been blown to smithereens, but these guys are somehow still perfectly intact. They don't have any shrapnel, they don't have anything. So how are they so strategically placed and protected that we don't have
Under tunnels.
casualties of Hamas right now?
If you look at the
They're under
facts,
the
Civilians
ground.
and children.
can I say? If you
They're
look
under
at
the
the facts,
ground.
if you look at the facts, Hezbollah is in
they
interest
can
of
go
Israel.
to Iran, keep the toughest generals, and they cannot kill Hamas and Gaza on the
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
This is like a
Israel is interested in
They
Hamas.
can't because they're
That's
underground.
being naive.
China's not on the other side.
Israel is on to keep Palestine under control because of Hamas, and Israel actually lets guys from Qatar and other countries.
Amir, are you listening to this? Hamas now works for Israel. Come on.
They have
This is
Hamas is used by Israel to keep the country under control.
I didn't say
They-
working with them. I said they're working with them.
Raven, I need to ask you some questions, brother. Hold on. So
Yeah,
7th
yeah,
of
please.
October, 7th of October.
Yeah.
Was it just Hamas involved in 7th of October? Who did 7th of October? Can you tell us?
So this was done by people of terrorist interests, but believe that they can use this to influence the country.
Okay. Did Hamas do it themselves, or was it somebody else that did it?
I think they work very good with intelligence from Iran and other powerful.
Okay. Let me correct your narrative. Let me maybe give you a little bit, maybe educate you, right?
Okay,
Hamas
it's not from
hold on. Hamas is a political wing. Hang on, bro, hang on. Hamas is a political wing. Al-Qassam Brigades is a military wing. Okay? And there's multiple gangs that were involved on the 7th of October. It wasn't one gang.
Okay,
Right there on the border too.
You see,
Right there.
and some of them were civilian. They saw the door wide open. They just walked in. So you had civilians that were Palestinians. You had multiple gangs going inside and did what they did, and and not only that, they even went into, because some of the people were actually hungry and whatnot. They wanted to go grab whatever they can, and the intention was not to kill them; it was to grab them. But it turned into a freaking kill match and grabbing match and whatever.
Well, Amir, if you connect the dots, real quick though, right now, with Israel working with those same gangs to steal the food from Palestinians and to blame it on Hamas. These are the same people that went into and did all this stuff in October 7th. Right behind Hamas. Go ahead.
When I just started speaking, I said that Hamas or parts of it is actually in the interest of Israel to keep Palestine in control and not let it be a country. And it actually lets people who are rich from Qatar and sponsors to come with bags of money, like millions, and give it to people in Hamas. They don't know who received this money, and a lot of them goes to terrorists, and they, by having terrorists in Palestine, they keep them isolated and under control with the hope to totally control it. And I just say that they use Hamas and terrorists to activate their war and plans in Palestine. And I believe that Israel is a very smart and determined army. Maybe I don't know how to speak properly in English, but they've been.
Well, I agree with you on everything.
by being through such conflicts that they showed very admirable skills in tactics, and they by doing that from this terrorist attack, they used it perfectly to feed their plans. They was waiting for a moment like this. It's an army who
You're saying Israel encourages violence in order to justify their violence going in and controlling the Palestinian territory. Well, yeah, Marcus, I never disputed this. I just dispute that Hamas is directly working with Israel.
You might want to use an N instead of an M while addressing me like it would save you the embarrassment. That's all I'm saying, Edward.
Edward,
Marcus?
Yeah.
you don't need to
What's Marcus mean? Marcus, what's up?
Not like
meaning?
N like Mary, it's N like Nancy.
Yeah, but she said to save me with the embarrassment. I mean, I wouldn't be
What is
embarrassed.
Margus? What is Margus?
I don't know. Does it mean anything?
No.
Well, so I wouldn't be embarrassed.
I'll embarrass you. Well, the most embarrassing thing is you voting for Trump. And then
Okay, can we get over this? Okay, you and Morty are not allowed to be in the same room together.
Morty is amazing. She's lovely.
Oh
She's
my God.
spectacular.
As a foreigner, I have an opinion about Trump.
I'm also a foreigner in this room.
Okay, so I believe that Trump is against the American principle and against the Constitution, because he offends people and actually makes them feel inferior, and through his speech he stops their speeches. I believe that Trump is using his anger to raise people, but it's me as a foreigner, I look like America lost its way, its principle of capitalism and democracy. Sorry, I didn't know.
Wow, that was deep. Can you run that back for the people in the back, please? I'm not
I believe
I appreciate what you just said.
a president shouldn't be very good for economy or anything, but he should stand for being a right guy and not offending people and promoting good relationships and showing that he's a guy who is for goodness. But just by being him, I will not vote, even if he does great for economy and stocks and good relationships with my
Well,
country.
considering the height of rent in the US and how much a thing of eggs costs, it's not that much better for Americans to have a Republican in office, especially the gas prices, right? All these minute things that were promised to Americans that they're so easily swayed by when they vote are things that haven't even changed in his, 100 and something days in office now? But yet massive people are being deported, children are becoming orphans, people who are protected by the Constitution are being deported. They're being criminalized. So it's funny that our Constitution defends these people in the legal aspect, but legally the book's gone out the window. So, and I'll go back to the Hamas narrative, because if this was technically about Hamas, let's just look at it for what it is, okay? Does Hamas have a flag?
Well, yes, but it doesn't
Hamas
matter.
has a flag. Now,
Yes, it
let me
has.
ask you this. When people are screaming Free Palestine, is this a Hamas flag they're waving?
No.
But it has now become anti-Semitic to wave a Palestinian flag in a government building? Come on, man. This isn't about Hamas.
No,
This has never been about Hamas. The word terrorist is thrown around in U.S. vocabulary to control the narrative. They did it with 9/11. They did it with multiple attacks on U.S. territory. And it's just a way to sway the people emotionally to control the narrative logically. It's manipulation, is all it is. If this was really about the people of Palestine, then the flag of Palestine is what the war is on, right?
Yeah, true.
You're very
They're
right.
protesting. They're not waving Hamas flags. They're waving
very right.
Palestinian flags. When we're doing casualty checks, right? When we're checking the temperature to see who's dying in Gaza and in the West Bank, are these Hamas people? Is Hamas a nationality?
No.
No, it's an organized movement. The war has always been on the Palestinian people for the land. It's a land grab and a resource grab, and U.S. is just as guilty. They're trying to separate themselves right now because they know what's coming in the world court, and they are trying to backtrack. However, the damage is done. You can't just put a port on the outside of somewhere and use it. You can't just build college relationships in a region and just say that you're not involved. It's beyond that.
I want my theories about the World Court and what would the ramifications of that to the U.S., but we'll save that for a different room.
Well, I mean, this could take 20 years to play out. Sad.
No, I don't think it would.
I hope it doesn't, but in a realistic mind frame of how the World Court works, the clock is ticking and nothing's been done.
Well,
More
Yeah, that's what you
Palestinians
guys were
down
here
and
yesterday.
nothing's been done.
When I was I wish you guys were here yesterday when I was saying ICE agents with the new Gestapo and fuck the NYPD.
3 women now. Mary, you're losing control.
Well, the problem is that it's not just ICE agents. Did you know that our Congress is paying $1,500 per immigrant to bounty hunters? These are people who are not held by a court, who are not held by internal affairs. These are people that are just grabbing people. These videos that you see of these unmarked, what is it? They don't have a uniform on. They're undercover or whatever. No, those are bounty hunters. Those are not policemen. Those are not marshals. Those are not ICE agents. Those are bounty hunters. And people are not looking at it for what it is. They're allowing the U.S.
I had a British man
civilians
told
to be
me about
citizens
the
of this.
NYPD yesterday.
Well, it's beyond that now. It's beyond that, Wednesday. It's not just the NYPD. It's anybody with a license that can go and arrest someone.
No, I
You
would
can
say
arrest someone.
I would say that the
Citizens arrest.
NYPD was like the biggest gang around, and it had this British guy, and then someone else. Oh, it was crazy yesterday. You guys should have been here yesterday. And then this other guy who works for the military, so he's brainwashed. Because the military's like a cult.
But bounty hunters, in which state are you talking about, Morning?
I can find the clip for you where they're meeting in Congress to set the budget for individual arrests. I'll go get it for you.
Because Oregon, it's illegal. Bounty hunting is illegal. Wisconsin, bill bonds and bounty hunting.
Well, extradition, a bounty hunter can take someone across state lines if they want to, but at this point, it's not really necessary, because they're just kicking doors in at this point. Innocent people in Colorado, they're kicking doors in. It's like, it's problematic.
I was always jealous of USA for its judicial process and how Supreme Court would enforce the
Yeah, but only if they skip bail or are under contract with the bail bond company.
So I just wanted to say that if people feel like their constitutional rights are gonna be violated, like in these cases where people don't have a arrest mandate and take you, it destroys all the constitutional rights that people fought for in all their life, and USA becomes a state that. Sorry, I lost my thought.
What's up with the Pepe?
Can you bring Norm up here?
No, we're not doing
Slaughtered
that.
by.
What's up with the Pepe? What do you think about this whole thing?
As far as Iran goes, I personally care less. Iran's made it very clear that they, how they feel about Israel.
Pepe, my brother, good to see you. How are you?
I'm not saying that. Hang on, brother.
Good Lord Almighty, us. Good Lord.
I want to go.
Anas, hang on, bro, hang on. Iran made it clear America was in the process of making the deal. Israel just had to do a preemptive attack, right, for no reason. This was done without the permission, you could say, or consent.
I honestly, I don't care as long as it doesn't, put any U.S. troops
I agree.
overseas.
We have U.S. troops on the ground.
In Iran.
Yeah, I mean, inside Israel, we have U.S. troops inside Israel. The defense system, the thought system, they're run by the U.S. personnel.
Yeah, I don't care about that. But I mean,
So you don't
fighting
care about 70 to 100 people dying just because of stupid Israeli attack? And they're
Well, I mean,
bunch of whites as well.
I would care then.
Well, okay, you would care only if they get killed or if the thought system get taken
Or if
out.
they're deployed, overseas.
What about the tax dollars that was used, $1.2 billion, to fund that stupid thought system?
Well, I'm against funding Israel, so.
Okay, interesting, Jack. So can I ask you a question, Jack, if you mind, by the way, bro? If you are against funding Israel, then America should stay out of this and is not gonna bring benefit to this country, my dear brother. I see homeless veterans every day, and I'm sure you see homeless veterans every day, brother. So we need to put America first. When I say America, America first. No more funding for the Zionist entity, okay? America should stop funding Israel, bro. It makes no benefit to this country. For example, bro, we buy oil from Saudi Arabia. Hey,
only 7%, almost only 7%. The majority of the oil comes from Canada. Hang on, Alex. The majority of the oil comes from Canada.
Okay, that's interesting, bro. First time hearing this.
For USA to be first, it needs to influence other countries. It is policy to become rich.
America should also stop going into war.
I've said this, DJ, could you reduce your mic level if you don't mind?
Yeah, guys, my bad is raining in here, and my bad is pretty bad. I'm currently doing
When it
packaging
comes
in
to
Greece.
Iran, though, I mean, I don't. Iran is pretty much against all of the Arab states. They don't really play well with anybody.
They made a deal. They were making a deal after Israel did the attack or whatever. I mean, the Iranian leader went to Saudi Arabia, went to GCC countries, shook hands and smiled, and they made some sort of. They even did a drill in the sea together. They became, I believe, part of the BRICS. So yeah, they would be able to cooperate, but the biggest threat in the Middle East is nothing but Israel. I mean,
Well, then
why
why
don't
don't
they
the
get to
Saudi prince say that if Iran acquired nukes, they would have to do it?
Because Saudi Prince is a cocksucker.
So Saudi prince is doing it because remember, you got to keep this in mind. Trump made a deal. Trump said you don't have to normalize shit with Israel, right? And Trump said we're going to help you with the nuclear program, development program in Saudi Arabia, right? In return, you have to give us what $3 trillion or $4 trillion in the next 10 years. That's going to support and maybe add money to our economy, whatever. In return, so the NBS is actually buddy with Jared Kushner. So they tell him to move right, he moves right. I mean, look at the settlements. Jared Kushner is involved in the West Bank settlements. His family owns.
I know they're involved with Israel, but not the West Bank settlements.
Yeah, they're involved in the West Bank settlements. His cousins, their families, they're actually part. And it's really crazy. They're all connected to each other.
Well, I would just ask you this, as an American, if we're not fighting Israel's wars or funding them, why should I care?
$66 billion was given to Israel.
I can't control the past.
Did you just say you can't control the past?
Yeah.
It just happened like 18 months ago at $66 billion.
Past teachers.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think a lot of us Americans have a problem with it.
And Israel is the only country that got the most fun. Why can we not treat Israel just like we treat the other countries?
Because we have a bunch of Christians in this country that, I think a lot of people ask why does Israel, given this it's so out in the open, why are they given all the support, and why do our national or international why am I trying to blank on that word? Our international, when it comes to international affairs, why do we give them so much attention? I think that because they're because of the especially the types of Christians we have here in the U.S., Israel's seen as a special place around a bunch of countries that are predominantly Muslim, and I think that this country would kind of be enthusiastically Zionist even if there wasn't really much of a Israeli lobby or anything like that. I think that's why it's so out in the open. There's so much enthusiasm